Enemy at the Gates is a 2001 war film and stars Jude Law, Joseph Fiennes, Rachel Weisz, and Ed Harris. In an epic game of cat and mouse, two snipers face off on opposite ends of the battleground to help their side secure a coveted city during World War II. Ever since I saw The Talented Mr. Ripley several months ago, I've been wanting to watch more Jude Law movies, and that's exactly what I've been doing. Also, if you guys could not tell by now, I am a huge fan of war films. Every single time I get the chance to check out another war movie, I do so. So that's exactly why I'm reviewing Enemy at the Gates today. Plus, I heard some pretty good things about this film. You're all more than aware of the generic war film structure. Typically, you have a band of characters who you may or may not like. There could be a large-scale battle to open the film. Maybe your characters will go on a journey, or they'll have several character moments throughout the duration of the first 2/3 of the film. Then usually by the end you have a larger battle that's bigger than the one that opened the movie. That's pretty much how every single war film goes. Not too many of them are differentiated. They're all basically the same if you look at it from hindsight. However, Enemy at the Gates is much different than any other war film I've seen for the most part. This film is not just about a large-scale battle. This is more so about two men who are cold-blooded killers aiming to take the other out. And it's so cool how they build up Jude Law and Ed Harris in this movie. The way we view them is almost as if they're superheroes. I swear to you, these guys are masters with their guns. Every single time they shoot, they do not miss. It's a headshot. I don't know how you could be that precise with your gun. Sometimes that does make this movie feel a little bit too unrealistic for its own good. But still, since these guys are almost superhumans, it makes this movie a lot more exciting rather than if it was the opposite way around. You don't want to watch a movie where guys constantly miss shots. Having these guys be so good at what they do makes this movie entertaining from beginning to end. The premise of Enemy at the Gates is easily the best aspect of the entire movie. I cannot stop talking about it. It's one of a kind. It's very special from anything else I've ever seen before in the war genre. That's what makes this movie worth watching. It's the premise. And they do a really great job at piecing together this film. It's not just a character war movie. It's a thriller, and some of the thrills were unexpected. The directing is excellent, and this movie almost feels like it's a large Call of Duty mission. But going back to what makes this movie so great are the characters. These are some of the best characters I've seen from a war film, and at the core of this movie is a very likable friendship that you get behind between Jude Law and Joseph Fiennes. These two have excellent chemistry on the screen. I bought the two as friends. I deeply cared about their relationship. The two are extremely likable on the screen. Joseph Fiennes and Jude Law are terrific in this movie. They're not given nearly enough credit. I must admit, you get all the action from a war movie you could ever ask for. This is another R-rated war film, and you get what you want. Great action, a lot of blood, a lot of violence. It's everything you could ever imagine. And once again, touching on the directing, there are some truly shocking moments that I never saw coming from a million miles away. I admire the direction and the decision-making by everyone involved in the making of Enemy at the Gates. They do some things that are gutsy, but it pays off by the end. And now it's time for me to talk about this film's problems. One of them I talked about slightly earlier. These two snipers have ice in their veins. They do not miss. But how realistic is that? This movie does feel silly because the two snipers get so many headshots to the point where you don't feel like it's even realistic anymore. I do question whether or not this movie is trying to honor the men who fell during World War II between the Russians and Germans, or is this just an over-the-top John Wick wannabe war movie that has no idea what realism even is? Another thing to point out is how this movie is following Russian and German soldiers, and yet nobody speaks with a Russian or German accent for the most part. I guarantee you that is part of the reason why this movie got slammed by some critics in 2001. How can you have a World War II movie that follows Russian and German soldiers, and yet nobody speaks with those accents? In fact, nobody talks Russian or German either in this movie. Everyone speaks English, and I think all of them have English accents. But now it's time for me to talk about the thing critics and audiences hate the most about Enemy at the Gates: the love triangle. Why is this thing here? Talk about an unnecessary subplot. It is not needed. I hate romances as it is, but seeing it here in a war film where I'm pretty sure back then nothing like this would have ever happened in real life, It just doesn't make any sense. I roll my eyes every single time I see a romance on the screen, but in this moment especially, I despised it. They always do this in movies. I've watched multiple films over the last couple of months where there's an unnecessary romance. Gangs of New York is one of those movies, and I just don't get it. Rachel Weisz and Jude Law are both great in the film. They have excellent chemistry, but it's not needed. You know what you do when those scenes come up in this film? You push that fast forward button. There's no point to watching them. While watching this movie, I felt like I wasted my time when those scenes came up. So yeah, push that fast forward button. If you can just brush past the romance, I think you'll have a blast with Enemy at the Gates. When Jude Law and Ed Harris are going toe to toe, this is where the movie is at its best. For a war film, it's unique, it's action-packed, has great characters, the performances across the board are excellent, this movie is well-directed, and it also has some really awesome music. The only thing that I don't care about is the romance. I forgot about it by the end of the movie. And at the core of the film, the ongoing feud between Jude Law and Ed Harris is certainly eye-catching. I'm giving Enemy at the Gates a 77%. Alright, for those of you who also happen to see Enemy at the Gates, be sure to let me down below in the comment section what your thoughts are on it. Do you also feel that the romance is extremely unnecessary? Because I found it very forgettable. As always, if you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.